Turn-based combat is back, and it's better than ever. We're talking about 20 of the absolute best JRPGs that prove menu-based battles aren't some relic of the past. They're timeless foundation for strategy, storytelling, and some of the most memorable gaming experiences ever made. From legendary classics that defined the genre to brand new releases pushing boundaries, this list has something for everyone. Quick thing before we dive in. The numbers here are just for organization, not ranking. There's no universe where I'm saying one of these masterpieces is objectively better than another. Your favorite might be at number 17, and that's totally valid. We're celebrating 20 incredible games, so let's get into it.
Right out the gate, we're starting with something that released in April 2025 and absolutely deserves your attention. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It's this gorgeous French-developed JRPG that feels like if Final Fantasy met Dark Souls and they both got really into Belle Epoque architecture. The whole vibe is hauntingly beautiful. Think steampunk Paris meets apocalyptic fantasy. Here's the hook. Every year, this entity called the Paintress appears and paints a number. Anyone that age? Gone, erased from existence. So you're racing against time in this expedition where turn-based combat gets supercharged with real-time elements. You're dodging, parrying, timing your blocks. It's not just menu selection anymore. You're actively involved in every exchange. The Picto customization system is ridiculously deep too, letting you build characters in ways that feel genuinely unique. What makes this special is it proves turn-based combat isn't some relic of the past. This 2025 game looks absolutely stunning and still commits fully to the turn-based structure. It's Sandfall Interactive's debut, and honestly, they knocked it out of the park. If you've been sleeping on this because it's not from a major publisher, stop. This is the real deal.
So we're going from a brand new game to basically the gold standard. Chrono Trigger is from 1995, and here's the thing. It's still better than most modern RPGs. That's not nostalgia talking, that's just facts. The dream team of Sakaguchi, Hori, and Toriyama created something that respects your time in a way games still struggle with 30 years later. The combat happens right on the map. No screen transitions, no random encounters yanking you away from exploration. And the tech system? You're combining character abilities for these massive team attacks. Chrono's lightning plus Lucas' fire equals an explosion. Frog and Chrono do X-Strike. It makes you actually want to experiment with party compositions instead of just finding one setup and sticking with it. But the real magic is how it handles time travel. You can visit prehistoric times, the Middle Ages, a post-apocalyptic future, and your actions in one era literally change what happens in another. Planting a seed in 600 AD creates a forest in 1000 AD. That level of interconnected world building was mind-blowing then, and it's still impressive now. Plus, multiple endings in New Game Plus? Revolutionary at the time. If you somehow haven't played this yet, fix that immediately.
Number 3, Final Fantasy VI. Now, we're shifting from adventure to straight-up tragedy. Final Fantasy VI is the darkest the series has ever gone, and I'm including 7 in that statement. This is a game where the villain, Kefka, actually wins halfway through. He destroys the world, like genuinely destroys it. The apocalypse happens and you have to deal with the aftermath. Here's what makes it brilliant. After the World of Ruin hits, the game becomes completely non-linear. You have to reassemble your scattered party members from the ashes of civilization, and it's entirely up to you who you find and in what order. That structural choice mirrors the gameplay. Everything feels desperate and broken because the world literally is. You're not saving the world anymore, you're picking up the pieces. The ensemble cast means there's no single protagonist. You've got Terra dealing with her identity, Locke haunted by his past, Celis attempting suicide on a deserted island, Shadow running from his demons, 14 playable characters, and somehow they all feel fully developed. The Opera House scene alone, where Celis performs on stage while you memorize lines and hit cues, is still one of gaming's most memorable moments. And Kefka? He's pure nihilistic evil. No tragic backstory, no sympathy. He just wants to watch everything burn. Sometimes that's exactly what a story needs.
Number 4, Final Fantasy X. Total tonal shift here. FFX is basically a road movie disguised as a fantasy epic, and it's gorgeous and heartbreaking in equal measure. This was the series' PS2 debut, and Square went hard. Full voice acting, stunning visuals for 2001, and a complete overhaul of the combat system. The conditional turn-based system ditches the ATB time pressure entirely. You can see exactly when everyone acts on a sidebar, and abilities affect turn order. Use quick hit to jump ahead in line. Plan 3 moves ahead like it's chess. It gives the combat this tactical depth that rewards thinking over reflexes. And honestly, it's probably the best version of turn-based Final Fantasy ever tried. But the real gut punch is the story. Tidus is guiding Yuna on her pilgrimage, and about halfway through, you realize it's a suicide mission. The whole journey is about her sacrificing herself to stop sin. That scene where they laugh together, often mocked out of context, is them forcing happiness in the face of death. It's devastating. And the ending? They don't get the fairy tale. Tidus fades away and Yuna loses him, and it hurts. The sphere grid progression system is fantastic too, letting you essentially break the class system and build characters however you want. This is comfort food with a knife hidden inside it.
From emotional devastation to style incarnate, Persona 5 Royal is the game that proved to modern audiences that turn-based combat can be fast, flashy, and feel like an anime fight scene. Every menu transition, every attack animation, every victory screen, it all pops. The UI design alone is legendary. You're leading the Phantom Thieves, stealing hearts by diving into corrupted mindscapes and beating the evil out of society's worst people. The whole game is about rebellion against authority, corruption, and the systems that protect abusers. It's not subtle, but it's effective. The combat refines the one more system. Hit a weakness, get an extra turn, and adds baton pass, letting you chain buffed attacks across your whole team. Royal adds the third semester with Dr. Maruki as the antagonist, and he's maybe the best written villain in the series. He genuinely believes he's helping by erasing everyone's pain, and the philosophical debate that creates is fascinating. Do people deserve happiness, even if it's a lie? The social sim loop of managing school life, relationships, and dungeon crawling is addictive. You're min-maxing your free time to maximize stats and social links, and somehow it never feels tedious. Plus, the soundtrack is absolutely fire. Last Surprise and Rivers in the Desert live rent-free in every player's head forever.
Number 6, Dragon Quest XI. Here's where we celebrate tradition done right. Dragon Quest XI isn't trying to reinvent anything. It's comfort food, the JRPG equivalent of a warm blanket and hot cocoa. But it's executed with such polish and heart that it reminds you why these tropes became tropes in the first place. You're the chosen hero marked by destiny, collecting party members, saving the world from an ancient evil. Standard stuff, right? Except the game is massive, easily 100+ hours, and it's divided into 3 acts. Act 2 goes full World of Ruin mode, scattering your party and forcing you to rebuild. Sylvando's arc, in particular, where he spreads joy in a devastated world, is genuinely moving. The PEP system adds some flash to the traditional combat, and the Draconian quest settings let you customize difficulty however you want. No shopping, stronger monsters, no armor? Pick your poison. It respects that some people want a breezy adventure and others want to suffer. The S version includes a fully playable 2D mode in classic Dragon Quest pixel art, so you're basically getting 2 games in one. It's a love letter to the entire series, and if you've ever wondered why people adore Dragon Quest, this is the perfect entry point. Just prepare to lose a significant chunk of your life to it.
Okay, total 180 here. We're going from high fantasy to a game where you fight hippies with baseball bats in suburban America. Earthbound is weird, and I mean that as the highest compliment. It bombed commercially in the West because Nintendo's marketing was literally, "This game stinks," but it's since become a cult classic for good reason. The whole vibe is simultaneously wholesome and deeply unsettling. You're kids fighting an alien invasion, but the alien is this Lovecraftian horror that you can't actually defeat through damage. The final boss, Gygus, requires you to pray, to call on the hope of everyone you've met on your journey. It's empowering and disturbing in equal measure, and creator Shigesato Itoi has confirmed it was inspired by childhood trauma when Itoi accidentally saw the wrong film as a child and mistook a murder scene for sexual violence. The rolling HP meter is genius too. When you take massive damage, your health rolls down like an odometer. If you heal the character or win the fight before it hits 0, they survive. It adds this frantic urgency to turn-based selection that shouldn't work, but absolutely does. This game is proof that JRPGs don't need swords and magic to work. Sometimes a yo-yo, a frying pan, and PSI Rockin' are all you need.
Number 8. Suikoden 2. Suikoden 2 is about recruiting 108 characters, the Stars of Destiny, and building them into an army. And somehow, despite having over 100 party members, your headquarters castle feels like a living community. You're not just collecting numbers, you're gathering blacksmiths, chefs, strategists, and soldiers, and watching your base physically grow as you recruit more people. The tragedy here is the friendship between Ryu and Joey, two kids forced onto opposite sides of a war. It's political intrigue and betrayal wrapped in personal heartbreak, and it never lets you forget that war destroys even the bonds that feel unbreakable. Luca Blight is frequently cited as one of the greatest JRPG villains, period. He's not misunderstood, he's not tragic, he's a sadistic warmonger who burns villages for fun. The boss fight against him requires 3 separate parties of 6 characters each fighting him in waves, followed by a duel. It takes 18 people to bring down one man, and that ludic structure hammers home just how terrifying he is. The cooking contest minigame is basically a full storyline on its own, and fans regularly call it the best minigame in the genre. That's the attention to detail we're talking about here. This is an epic in every sense of the word.
So here's the thing about Xenogears. It has the best story ever told in a video game, and also the most catastrophic development disaster. It's a game that spans thousands of years, incorporates Gnosticism and Jungian psychology, and asks massive questions about God, identity, and free will. It's ambitious to the point of insanity. The combat is fantastic. You input button combos to trigger martial arts death blows, and then there's a completely separate gear combat system for mecha battles that uses fuel management. It's 2 combat systems in one game, and both are great. But Disc 2. Oh, Disc 2. The team ran out of time and money, so instead of traditional gameplay, the story is told through long text crawls and static images with occasional boss fights. Objectively, it's a flaw, but the community has embraced it as part of the game's identity, a testament to the creator's refusal to compromise the narrative scope even when the resources ran out. Fun fact, Takahashi originally pitched his ideas for Final Fantasy VII, but executives deemed them too dark and complicated. After the rejection, he developed those concepts independently into Xenogears, and we got this beautiful, broken masterpiece. It was supposed to be episode 5 of a 6-part saga that never happened, making this standalone monument to what could have been.
Number 10. Yakuza Like a Dragon. This is the ballsiest pivot I've ever seen. Yakuza was an action brawler series for 7 mainline games, and then they just made it a turn-based JRPG, like fully committed. And it works because the in-universe justification is perfect. The new protagonist, Ichiban Kasuga, is a massive Dragon Quest fanboy who literally hallucinates street fights as RPG battles to cope with reality. so jobs aren't traditional classes anymore. Warrior becomes bodyguard. Mage becomes homeless guy who throws pigeons and breathes fire via alcohol. Cleric becomes idol, who heals the party by singing. Summons are pound mates. You call people via smartphone. It's modern Japan filtered through JRPG tropes, and the satire is chef's kiss. But despite the absurdity, fighting giant Roombas and dudes in trash bags, the story is a heartfelt crime drama about redemption, homelessness, and society's discarded people. The ending between Ichiban and the antagonist is some of the best voice acting and writing in the entire series. The fact that this shift to turn-based didn't compromise the emotional weight proves that combat system isn't what defines a game's identity. It's the heart underneath.
11. Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne. Welcome to hell. Literally, Nocturne drops you into the Vortex world, a post-apocalyptic Tokyo that's been turned inside out and tells you to figure it out. The atmosphere is oppressive, lonely, and minimalist in the best way. This isn't about saving your friends, it's about deciding how to recreate reality itself, or maybe just destroying it entirely. The press turn system is ruthlessly elegant. Hit a weakness or land a crit? Extra turn. Miss or hit a resistance? Lose turns. This applies to enemies too, which means a single mistake against regular mobs can snowball into a game over. Buffs and debuffs aren't optional, they're mandatory. Most JRPGs let you ignore support spells. Nocturne will kill you if you don't master them. Matador, the first major boss, is legendary as a noob killer. He forces you to learn the buff system immediately, specifically using red capote to boost evasion. Beating him is a rite of passage for Shin MT fans, a shared war story that binds the community together. The demon negotiation and fusion system is endlessly deep. You're recruiting demons mid-battle through dialogue choices, then fusing them into stronger allies. Every playthrough creates unique teams based on your fusion choices and skill inheritance priorities. Also, the game famously features Dante from Devil May Cry because the developers thought he fit the demonic setting perfectly. That box art became a meme for good reason.
Number 12. Grandia 2. Time to talk about the best battle system in JRPG history. Bold claim, I know, but hear me out. Grandia 2 uses an initiative point gauge where characters and enemies move along a timeline. When they reach the command point, they select an action. But here's the genius. Actions take time to execute, and you can use critical attacks to knock enemies backward on the timeline. Time it right just before an enemy acts, and you cancel their turn entirely. Master this, and you can lock down bosses so they never get to attack. It turns combat into this tactical race of interruption and timing that feels amazing when you pull it off. The story is solid too. Ryudo is this cynical mercenary who hates religion, forced to escort a songstress possessed by the wings of a dark god. The banter between jaded Ryudo and pious Elena drives the narrative, and watching Ryudo's walls slowly crumble is genuinely satisfying. It's a story about questioning dogma and finding your own moral compass. While the narrative is more straightforward than Grandia 1's grand adventure, the combat system elevates it to legendary status. Fans consistently describe it as addictive and unmatched, wishing more modern games would adopt this IP gauge mechanic. When you get it, you really get it, and suddenly every other turn-based system feels slow by comparison.
So the Trails series is basically the MCU of JRPGs, a continuous story spanning over a dozen games where everything connects. Trails in the Sky's second chapter is the payoff to the first chapter's brutal cliffhanger, where Joshua reveals his dark past and abandons the party. SC is about Estelle refusing to give up on him, searching the entire continent to bring him home. The world building is insane. Every NPC has a name, personality, and dialogue that changes after every major story event. Life goes on even when you're not looking, making the world feel genuinely alive in a way few RPGs manage. Towns aren't just shops and save points. They're places with histories and people you care about.
The orbment system is like Final Fantasy VII's materia, but more complex. You slot quartz into devices to unlock arts, spells, and passive stat boosts. SC refines this, allowing for deep customization, where understanding the underlying math lets you create builds that trivialize difficult encounters. The reunion scene between Estelle and Joshua on the beach is frequently cited by fans as one of the most emotionally earned moments in the franchise. It's a payoff worth 2 full games of build-up, and when it hits, it hits. This is slow burn storytelling done right, and if you have the patience for it, it's absolutely worth the investment.
Okay, total vibe shift. We're going from serious fantasy drama to a Mario game that's somehow darker and funnier than it has any right to be. TTYD fully commits to the paper aesthetic. Battles take place on a theater stage with a live audience that actively affects gameplay. The audience throws items at you, good and bad, and performing stylish moves hypes them up, regenerating star power. Stage scenery can fall on enemies or you. Fog machines obscure vision. It's chaotic and fun and makes every battle feel like a live performance where anything can happen. The writing is peak Mario RPG. There's a noose in the town square. The hub world is run by the Mafia. Vivian is a transgender character dealing with bullying from her sisters, handled with surprising maturity for a Mario game. Admiral Bobbery is a retired Bob-omb with a tragic past. These are fully developed characters in a game about a paper plumber. The Glitz Pit chapter, where Mario becomes a pro wrestler and solves a murder mystery, is consistently ranked as one of the best chapters in RPG history. The mystery, the setting, the unique battle conditions, it all clicks perfectly. Yeah, there's excessive backtracking, looking at you, Chapter 4, but the highs are so high that the lows barely matter. This is proof that turn-based combat works in any setting, even a theatrical Mario adventure.
Number 15, Octopath Traveler 2. Here's the modern evolution. Octopath Traveler 2 uses the HD 2D style, pixel art characters in 3D environments with modern lighting, and it's visually stunning. The sequel fixes the first game's biggest flaw. The party members actually interact now through crossed paths storylines, making them feel like a cohesive unit instead of 8 strangers traveling together. The break and boost system is addictive. You hit enemy weaknesses to break their shields, stunning them. Meanwhile, you save up boost points to unleash multiple attacks in one turn. It's simple to understand, but has real depth when you start optimizing turn order and ability combos. The day-night cycle changes how you interact with NPCs through path actions. The warrior can challenge people to duels during the day, but must bribe them at night. The thief can steal by day or ambush by night. It adds a puzzle element to town exploration. You're thinking about when to talk to people, not just how. The game hides its true ending behind a final chapter that unites all 8 storylines, revealing how they're connected to a shadow organization. That structural payoff rewards completionists and solves the disconnected stories complaint from the first game. It's an anthology that becomes a unified narrative, and pulling that off is hard.
Number 16, Golden Sun. This was the Game Boy Advance's flagship RPG, and it pushed that hardware to its absolute limit. The Djinn system defines the entire experience. Djinns are collectible elemental creatures that you set to characters, which boosts stats and changes their class. Give Fire Djinn to an Earth Adept and they become a Brute class, completely altering their spell list and stat growth. But here's the risk-reward hook. Using a Djinn in battle unleashes a special attack but puts it in standby mode, lowering your stats. However, Djinn on standby let you cast powerful summons, so you're constantly managing this fluctuation. Do I use my Djinn for immediate power, accept the stat drop, and save up for a massive summon? Or keep them set for sustained class benefits? It's a dynamic system that makes every battle feel different. Unlike most RPGs where magic is just for combat, Golden Sun requires synergy to solve environmental puzzles. You're using Move to push pillars, Frost to freeze water into platforms, Mind Read to get clues from NPCs. It makes dungeons feel like Zelda dungeons inside a turn-based RPG, and that integration is chef's kiss. The game was developed by Camelot, known for Shining Force, and the technical wizardry they pulled off, pseudo 3D summon animations on a Game Boy Advance, was considered impossible at the time. This is a handheld marvel that still holds up today.
Number 17. Lunar, the Silver Star Story Remastered Collection. Here's pure nostalgia done right. The Lunar Remastered Collection brings back two beloved 90s JRPGs, Silver Star Story and Eternal Blue, and polishes them for modern audiences without losing their soul. These games are basically interactive anime, complete with gorgeous hand-drawn cutscenes and a soundtrack that's still incredible decades later. The story is a straightforward hero's journey. Alex wants to be a hero like his idol Dragon Master Dine, meets the singing girl Luna, and gets pulled into a quest to save the world. It's comfort food storytelling, but the characters are so endearing and the writing is so heartfelt that it works. The relationship between Alex and Luna drives everything, and when the twist hits about Luna's true identity, it genuinely hurts. The remaster adds quality of life features like faster battle speeds, auto battle, and difficulty options, making the old school quirks more manageable. Combat is turn-based but uses positioning. Characters in the front row take more hits but deal more damage. Back row is safer but weaker. It's simple but effective. What makes Lunar special is its warmth. In an era of dark, edgy RPGs, this is unabashedly hopeful and sincere. It believes in heroism, friendship, and love without a shred of irony, and that earnestness is refreshing. Sometimes you just want a good-hearted adventure, and Lunar delivers that in spades.
Number 18. Trails Through Daybreak 2. We're back in the Trails universe, but this time we're in Calvard with the sequel to Daybreak. This one continues the Van Arkwright story, diving deeper into the crime thriller aesthetic mixed with supernatural elements. The game refines the hybrid combat system introduced in the first Daybreak. You're melding real-time field battles with turn-based command battles. New mechanics like cross-charges, EX chains, and quick arts reward precision and inter-party coordination, making combat feel like strategic choreography. When your team clicks and you're chaining abilities perfectly, it's satisfying. The game also introduces time-looping events that open different story outcomes, adding replay value and making choices feel genuinely impactful. Optional content is substantial. Dungeons, mini-games like fishing and hacking, and a robust skill system give you plenty to dig into beyond the main plot. The character arcs are detailed and nuanced, with returning faces from previous games getting development alongside new additions to the cast. The criticism? The narrative occasionally feels padded and repetitive, which is a Trails series problem in general. These games are dense, and not every scene needs to be as long as it is. But if you're invested in the Calvard arc and the larger Trails universe, this delivers more of what you love. Complex world building, layered character relationships, and a soundtrack that's genuinely outstanding.
Number 19. Saga Frontier 2 Remastered. Saga games are weird, and that's their charm. Saga Frontier 2 Remastered is a remaster of a cult classic that weaves a dual narrative across generations. You're following Gustav, a royal heir exiled for lacking anima powers, and Will, an ambitious hunter uncovering cosmic threats. Their stories intersect across decades in a watercolor world that's absolutely gorgeous. Combat alternates between group skirmishes and intense one-on-one duels, with a daunting trio of resource systems, HP, MP, and LP life points. Mismanaging them means permanent death, which adds real stakes to every encounter. Unlike most JRPGs where grinding fixes everything, Saga Frontier 2 demands tactical thinking and resource planning. The remaster adds quality of life improvements like adjustable battle speed, clearer UI, and parameter inheritance for progression across characters. New events and party members enrich the story without disrupting the original flow, and the watercolor backgrounds look even better with modern displays. The soundtrack by Masashi Hamauzu is hauntingly beautiful,
perfectly complementing the game's melancholic tone. This isn't a power fantasy. It's about characters struggling against systems larger than themselves, finding meaning in small victories. If you bounced off the original due to its obtuse systems, the remaster makes it significantly more approachable. It's still a saga game, meaning it's weird and demands experimentation, but the modernization helps the brilliance shine through. Number 20. Fuga Melodies of Steel 3. We're ending on an emotional gut punch. Fuga Melodies of Steel 3 is the finale of CyberConnect 2's war-torn trilogy about children piloting a giant tank to survive a genocidal empire. This isn't cute mascot characters having a lighthearted adventure. The story opens with the darkest scenes in the trilogy and never lets up. The core gameplay mixes turn-based tank battles with life sim downtime. During combat, you're managing weapon systems, targeting enemy weak points, and deciding when to use devastating special attacks. Between battles, you're nurturing relationships, cooking meals, and managing the kids' mental states. The juxtaposition of childhood innocence against the horror of war is deliberate and effective. The new weakness combo system rewards exploiting vulnerabilities with escalating damage, making critical windows feel strategic. The Soul Cannon returns, a weapon that requires sacrificing a child to unleash. The game asks if you're willing to kill a kid to save everyone else, and that moral weight is heavy. There are 8 endings ranging from tragic to redemptive, and the Akasha panel lets you explore alternate timelines to unlock secrets. The art style is beautiful, the characters are genuinely endearing, and the soundtrack amplifies every emotional beat. This is proof that turn-based JRPGs can tackle mature themes with nuance. It respects the audience enough to not pull punches, and the payoff is a story that sticks with you long after the credits roll.
And there you have it. 20 incredible turn-based JRPGs that prove this genre is alive, thriving, and evolving. From the classics like Chrono Trigger that set the standard, to modern masterpieces like Clair Obscur pushing boundaries, there's something here for everyone. Whether you want political intrigue, emotional devastation, weird suburban adventures, or just really good combat systems, turn-based JRPGs have you covered. If I missed your favorite, drop it in the comments. I'm always looking for recommendations. And if you're new to the genre, honestly, you can start anywhere on this list. They're all bangers. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.